Hi guys, today we're going to talk electrolytes. This is not something brand new. I guess a lot of people know a lot of things about the electrolyte, but the reason why I'm making this video is because despite having done exercises and a lot of fun out in the nature for the past 40 years, recently I still had this huge epiphany where this kind of, how can that happen that I've been doing sport for so long without actually connecting the dots? And since it happens to me, being 50 years plus, I bet there's a lot of other people out there who's missing out on this very vital information as to what electrolyte is and what it does to you. Now, the reason why I've been looking into it is because 2 years ago I did a kayak trip down in Ping River. If you haven't seen that video, look it up. And on that trip, I was planning on going from a small village called Doi Dao all the way down to the Bhumibol Dam, the very renowned dam in Thailand. But halfway through, I had to give up. I had to bail out and go home again because I was heat exhausted. Despite drinking up to 11 liters a day, I just could not hydrate myself properly. And I was literally shoveling as much water as my body would accept. I just couldn't take more than that, yet I could not rehydrate. So it has puzzled me for a long time because we all know if you're in a hot climate, you got to drink water. You also know if you do exercise, you got to drink water. And obviously, if you do both in a hot climate, do exercise, you got to drink even more water. So what went wrong? For the past 5-6 years, I've been doing trail running. And one of the things that we always do when we go trail running, just prior to the run, as part of the run fee, is we get a little bit of electrolyte here. And to me, electrolyte has just been a source of energy. So instead of being left behind on the trail because I was running out of energy, most of the time I took a pouch of this and half a liter of water and drank it before departure. Or I brought the bottle with me so I could drink it on my run. But every now and then I decided not to go for this one because maybe I was on a diet and I decided I wanted to get slim and I did not want sugar. And there is sugar in these electrolytes as well. But now I realized that's not particularly smart because electrolyte is actually something that is naturally in our body. It is not a product made by companies to make money off athletes. We do need electrolytes in our body, and electrolyte is in reality, and let me just read it up here to make sure that I get that right. Electrolyte is, I don't know if I can see it here. Electrolyte is sodium, calcium, magnesium, potassium, and chloride. There you have it. Now, I'm not a chemist, and I deliberately did not want to learn this by heart, although it might have looked more professional. But those are the things that our body needs, because when those things get in contact with water, they create an electrical current. And that electrical current is what the brain uses to communicate with the rest of our body. It is in order to make sure the pH levels are right. It is to make sure that our heart is beating the correct way. It is to make sure that our internal organs are working the way they should. It is to make sure that our muscles are contracting correctly. So it is absolutely imperative that we have the correct level of electrolytes in our body. And the reason why it is called electrolyte is because of that electrical current that those things combined give when they get in contact with water. So, but it's not only an electrical current that happens here. When you drink the water and it goes down to your stomach, it needs to get out to your cells. It's not doing much good just in your stomach. And to get there, it uses electrolyte. So if you imagine that the electrolyte is like small vessels sitting ready down in the stomach, ready to, when water comes in there, they can bring that water out to the cells. So if you are running out of electrolytes, which you do when you're sweating, when you're breathing, and when you're peeing, or you're vomiting or have diarrhea, whenever you're using liquids of your body, you are also sweating electrolytes. So if you do not replenish it, you are minimizing the amount of electrolyte standing ready in your stomach to bring that out to your cells. And that in turn means, as happened on my Ping River trip, that I was swallowing up to 11 liters a day, but I didn't get new electrolytes. So I was flushing out and constantly flushing out my electrolytes. And by that, I was reducing the ability to transport my water to the cells where they made use of it. Which basically means that no matter how much water I eventually end up drinking, I would never get hydrated. So electrolytes is not just a matter of sugar. Some of these electrolytes, as mentioned, they do have sugar in it, and it does facilitate an easier transport from your stomach and out to the cells to have that sugar. It's kind of fueling or a co-transporter, if you might say so. But obviously, if you're on a keto diet or you are especially needs, you might not want electrolyte that contains sugar. And then the body is also capable of doing that itself, because there are certain ingredients in your stomach, or what you call it, that can bring that out to your cells. But it's harder work and it's not as efficient. And for us normal mortal people going out on occasional exercise or traveling to the hot countries and are really in need of water, we will really appreciate the bit of sugar that might be in this one here. So even on a diet where I do not have sugar, I would never hesitate to use one of these. So yeah, guys, like I said, I've been doing sport for 40 years, and I have also been using electrolyte, but I never understood the importance of electrolyte. I always just consider it being an energy boost, but it is, and it is also so much more. Now, it does exist in various versions. We got the powder version, you can just dilute in ½ liter of water. We got these salt sticks. This is something that I like to use. These are the chewables because they taste good, and you have 1 or 2 every hour if you're doing longer or harder trips. But they also got the pill version, the caps version, which has got 3 times the amount of potassium and calcium and chloride and stuff in it, which means you need less. There's obviously no taste to it. These tablets, you just swallow them. But ever since I've been using these, I've not been suffering from cramps anymore. And I can tell you, on longer kayak trips, my hands were cramping up. Running, hiking, if I do longer trips, obviously my feet and my calves and my thighs, they really cramp up. But once I start using these, I never had any issues anymore. So it's very, very recommended to look into that. But obviously this is also recommended that comes with a bit of a warning. If you do have heart diseases, if you do have any disease of sort, you should consult your physician before you start using these kind of things here, because they do contain things that could have an impact on our health that it's already in trouble. So it's definitely not something you want to do if you're not 100% sure where you are in your health. But I like it and I use it and it benefits me a lot. I hope you could use this for something. And until next time, as always, stay curious.